All right, welcome penny stock billionaires. We got a special live stream today. Let me just adjust this over here. Okay, I got amazing news for you today. Right now, the psychedelic sector is heating up. Okay, we have a stock that's already up, leading the way. It is up over 1,000%, over a TenBagger in just since really January, right? From more, 1,500%. You know what's crazy is I really missed the boat on this because I actually did reach out to this company to do an interview. We never heard back from them, so whatever. But this is the canary in the coal mine, in my opinion. When you have a stock that is leading the sector, breaking out like we're seeing right now with this MDMA. What are they doing? They're in the psychedelic space, basically. They're doing MDMA, also psilocybin. For the Australian market, whatever. Now, here's the thing, right? Guys, very important. I'm not here to sell you a book, but, I wrote this book, which is my proven system for finding stocks, that become TenBaggers. They all have some things in common. They have 10 characteristics in common. And one of the things that we look for is we need to get into a sector that's heating up. And you got to get in there before it takes off. You got to be like Wayne Gretzky. I talk about this in the book. You got to be like Wayne Gretzky. You got to get into something before it takes off. Like Gretzky, why was he the greatest hockey player? Most of these schmucks, the average player they're chasing after the puck. No, Gretzky goes to where the puck is heading. He's positioned in place, ready, because he knows where the puck is heading, and that's where he goes. That's what you got to do right now, my friends. This is what most of you guys are losing money with these stocks. That's what most of you are bag holders. Because, most of you people watching this, the average investor, they get into something once it's already up, like this stock. They're buying MDMA once it's already up 1,000%. By then, the juice has been squeezed out. Of these things. Don't you get it? You got to be like Warren Buffett, okay? Like Warren Buffett and Wayne Gretzky. And what is Warren Buffett's strategy? Why is Warren Buffett so successful? One of the big reasons is, two reasons. Obviously, some of these stocks that he got into take off. But here's the thing that him and Munger always talk about. They only get into a stock when what they look at, what I call an asymmetric setup. So Buffett calls it picking up a cigar butt off the ground or whatever. I don't know, he calls it something else. But basically, he gets into a stock where there's really almost no risk. And he talks about it all the time. He says, look, when I buy a stock, it's basically like free. There's really no risk. And the market thinks it's but it's really not. It's really like I'm just picking up free money off the ground. That's what Warren Buffett says. And that's what I call the asymmetric setup. Okay. That is a situation where you have a 20 to 1, a 50 to 1, 100 to 1 setup, and you have very little risk. And that's what we're seeing right now with Novomentis Life Sciences. But first, I want to show you something. I just want to show you this chart right here. Pharma, MDMA is the symbol. This thing is almost 50 cents, right? And this is a stock that is up over 1,000%. And this gives us an idea of exactly what can happen with Novomentis, NMLSF. That is exactly how these things work. Okay, I'm not saying that Novomentis is going to be a TenBagger, although I believe it is, and I'll show you a couple paths that it's going to get there. But this is very positive. This is very positive for us that we're already seeing a stock take off in the sector. And again, what are they doing? They're supplying MDMA, some psilocybin to some upcoming trials, whatever. It's not even big money. Australian market is allowing MDMA and psilocybin for a couple of psychiatrists or whatever, psychologists to prescribe it for, I think, treatment-resistant depression, a couple of other indications from what I understand. So the Australian market for psychedelics is opening up, and this is extremely, extremely bullish for the sector, for the psychedelic sector. And again, you want to be in it. You want to be in a sector before everybody else gets in, because by then you're going to see a chart like this, right? So we want a chart that looks like this, like Novomentis right now, NMLSF. This is the one-day chart. Not too dissimilar from what MDMA looked like, right? Really, take a look at this. So this is MDMA. Let me see. Am I right? Let me take a look. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is exactly how it works. Look, you see this? I mean, this is exactly what I talk about in my book, TenBagger Blueprint. You want a nice, big, wide base, a stock breaking out of the 50 and the 200 moving average. And all of a sudden it happens. It's like, there's a guy actually, a waiter at a restaurant I go to, and we started talking. The guy's into penny stocks. And I said, hey, I happen to have my book with me. I happen to have the TenBagger Blueprint with me. And this guy, he had an interesting term I'm going to use. He said, yeah, every year I look at a couple of really cheap stocks and I build a position of like 10 different stocks. I call it like setting up landmines. He called them landmine stocks because basically at some points, one of them is going to go off, right? Meaning up to the upside. I guess you can call it like setting up traps, but in a positive way, right? So with these stocks, you have this asymmetric setup, right? Now, this stock was an asymmetric setup, exactly. MDMA, and I wish I would have gotten involved, to be quite frankly. I mean, by now I think this thing is peaked out, but when I reached out, I was looking at this chart. The interesting sector. We had some success there already, so I thought, hey, this thing could potentially take off. I haven't even looked at this in a while, but the point is, it's exactly like Novomentis, NMLSF, which I believe is going to be the next stock to move. And it's exactly how it works. You got the canary in the coal mine. You got the first one that starts moving. It starts, getting people interested in the sector. And then everybody's looking for that next. They're looking for that next hot stock. And that, I believe, is going to be probably Novomentis, because, again, Novomentis is they're going into a phase 2A clinical trial for psilocybin as a therapeutic for Fragile X. It's a subset of autism. And the idea there is, again, I talked about this before, is that, if you can get approval there and there's an accelerated path for potential approval, then you can go into other indications. And that's how pharma works, right? The idea is you go after this rare disease, and then you can expand to other indications, etc. So, again, very, very bullish for Novomentis. Now, again, I'm showing you this chart of MDMA. I'm showing you exactly what can happen. I'm showing you what happens when a stock heats up. And Novomentis, I believe, is going to be the next one. I think Novomentis chart is going to look like this MDMA chart in a couple of months. We're going to be talking about it. And a lot of you guys, and I guarantee you 99% of the people watching this, they're not going to take any action. And again, I'm not making any recommendations. I'm not saying whatever. But 99% of the people watching this, they're going to ignore it. Like usual, every time we introduce a new stock, and especially in a bear market, everybody ignores it. Everybody's a cynic. They all think, they know better. They all think, oh, this is a scam, this blah, 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 whatever. And sure enough, the stock starts taking off. And when they jump in, when everybody jumps in, they jump in when the stock is already up 1,000%. And you know what happens? I talk about this in the book. What happens then? By then, the stock pulls back, and you got people are bag holding. Now, the idea is you want to get into it. Again, this chart looks exactly like the MDMA chart that I just showed you. What you saw, the MDMA, that's a preview. That's a preview of what Novomentis could look like. Open your mind. Open your eyes. Open your eyes, people. This is the real deal. Now, here's what you got to understand. You got what I call a in terms of the asymmetric setup, you also have, let me just show you the slide here. Let me just show you the slide. Do we have this? There we go. You got also the, let me pull this up here. You have, there you go. You got the peer group evaluations. You got the arbitrage opportunity. You have the arbitrage opportunity. So you got a couple things going on. Number one is the sector is heating up. What else do you need to understand? You already have a stock that's become a bellwether, front runner. The first one takes off. People are looking for the next one. Don't you get it? Don't you understand what happens? So this MDMA has already taken off. Now people are going to be hunting for the next one. Who's waiting in line at a cheap valuation? Dirt cheap. Novomentis, $8 million valuation right now. Look at the peer group. I don't even have that other one up there. But yeah, look at the peer group. They're trading at 100 million, 300 million, 400 million valuations. Am I saying that Novomentis is going to go to a 400 million valuation, which would make it a 50 bagger? Am I saying it's going to become a 5,000% increase like we've had in the past? By the way, we had that with CBDT. And by the way, we introduced CBDT at a nickel. It went to 250. It should have only gone up to 50 cents, but we had a hot market. When did most people buy CBDT? They bought it when it was north of 50 cents. And they ended up as bag holders. By the way, hint for you. When is the time to sell a stock? Now, I talk about this in the book. When is the time to sell a stock? One of the times you want to consider selling a stock is, when they're no longer on the Wall Street Reporter program, because when they're no longer on the program, they don't have the market support. They don't have the eyeballs visibility. And it means two things, because there's two things. One is, once I see a stock has already, the juice has been squeezed out, it's made a big run, I don't want to work with them anymore because I'm looking for the next deal, right? I'm looking for the next bottom ground floor opportunity. So, I don't take on a company onto our next super stock program unless I believe it has a 10x upside potential, right? If you look at my track record, probably 1 out of 3 stocks we introduced did become a 10-bagger or more. Many of them became doubles, triples, 5-baggers, whatever, but very high probability of success. Now, once I see a stock that doesn't have that upside potential, why would I want to keep them on the program? I mean, I'm not in it for the money of squeezing a monthly fee from a company every month, most of the low lives in the IR space. I'm only interested in making money on the options, okay? Because that's the thing on the stock. I'm interested in big money, not little money, right? I'm not like one of these pikers, who's trying to squeeze, 10 grand a month from these companies. I'm looking to make, 7 figures, hopefully, right? So bottom line is, you want to, so when, you want to get into these stocks when we bring them onto the platform, early stage, and you can see when they become 10-baggers or more, then you want to, you want to start exiting the position, right? Because usually the sweet spot for a lot of these stocks is between 10x, 20x. Those 50-baggers are very rare. 100-baggers, yes, we have had 100-baggers. Axon became a 100-bagger, Rick's Cabaret, a couple of others. But those things take years, okay? Do you want to wait 20 years for something to become a 100-bagger? And by the way, it's like a roller coaster. No, you want to get in, get out, 10x, go on to the next 10-bagger, parlay your money. Parlay is the name of the game. Imagine this. You start with $1,000, right? It becomes a 10-bagger. Now you got 10,000. What if you parlay that into another 10-bagger? That becomes 100 grand, right? You started from 1,000, you made 100,000, right? Now, what if you find another one that becomes, let's say, a 5-bagger or a 20-bagger? Now you're talking about over $1 million. And by the way, we've had that opportunity happen. We had that happen where we've had back-to-back a couple of things where somebody could have parlayed $1,000 into literally $1 million or more. We literally had that a couple of years ago. Now, those situations are rare. Those are, that may not happen for a while. I think it's going to happen probably next year. But I think, look, right now, Nova, I believe, is that ground floor opportunity. And I highly suggest you get my book so that you're prepared. 10-bagger Blueprint, get this on Amazon. If you don't get the book and you lose money, basically it's your fault. It's your fault. Now, again, I'm not writing this book to make money. Selling this for $19.95, that's not what it's about. I want you to be informed investor so that you understand exactly what the hell I'm talking about when I say asymmetric setup, when I say, you go where the puck is at, all these things I talk about, valuation gap arbitrage. You got to understand how the game works. You got to know the rules of the game if you want to make money. Most of you people are losing money with penny stocks because you don't know the rules of the game. You're suckers. You're following scammers on Discord and these message boards and forums, which are run by, promoters. People are getting kickbacks, payoffs under the table. A lot of people who know nothing, absolutely nothing. And it's the blind leading the blind. That's what's going on these Discord channels, on all these forums. And I'm giving you here, this is the path. This is the path here, my friends. 10-bagger Blueprint. So if you don't read the book, you're gonna lose money. That's the reality. Anyhow, Nova Mentis, back to this. Let me go back to there we go. Let me go back to this. So so Nova Mentis, beautiful chart setup, wide double bottom, just like that MDMA chart I showed you. Can I overlay this? Can I overlay this comparison? Let me see if this works. MDMA. MDMA. Should I do this in red? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hello. Do you see how these things are exactly the same? I mean, really, it's the same charts. It's the same fucking charts. It's amazing. Exactly. I mean, I can't believe that you morons haven't noticed that yet. Why do I say morons? Because, you know, if somebody's looking at this and you know, they're not buying the stock. Again, I'm not saying you should buy the stock, but if you're seeing what I'm seeing here, I mean, how obvious do you have to make it here? How obvious do you have to be? It's the same chart, same exact chart. So MDMA is leading the way. It's showing you what could potentially happen with Novo Mentis. That's exactly what this is showing you. It's exactly the same chart. We had a big double bottom, big wide base, and then finally it exploded. Now, we're seeing that setup. Now we see the multiple catalysts in place. What are the catalysts? You got the phase 2A clinical trial. Oh, but wait, it gets better. It gets better. How does it get better? The company today just announced that they're spinning out. You're going to get dividends. That's right. You're going to get a free dividend of their AI diagnostics business. Now, 99% of people didn't even know about this. So the company basically developed a proprietary mRNA technology that does, you know, biomarkers. So it can essentially, from a cheek swab, it gives you the biomarkers. It shows you, you know, exactly, does this person have this indication or whatever it is. You know, it gives you objective data, scientific data. It's objective data. Before that, they had to use, you know, behavioral analysis. It's like, you know, again, we're talking about neurological diseases, right? So for neurological disorders and neuroinflammatory disorders, etc., what they call it, before up till now, we needed, you know, somebody to look at the patient and say, hey, based on what I see, and again, that's this guy's opinion, based on what I see, I think he has this. Based on this and what I see, blah, 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 blah. No, now with Novo Mentis technology, with this swab AI that they're spinning out, with the cheek swab, they can get the mRNA, they can, you know, get a biomarkers that show, yes, this guy has these biomarkers that show that he has exactly this. That is basically, it's a game changer. It's a game changer, right? So they're going to be spinning this out. It has multiple applications. From what I understand is they want to maybe beef up this diagnostics business with maybe another company they're going to put into it. I don't know yet, but I think they're going to probably beef it up with something. I'm reading between the lines. So bottom line is, if you own shares of Novo Mentis, you're going to get this spin out, this dividend of what's basically, again, they use AI to do this diagnostic. So it's I mean, you're getting almost a 2-for-1 here. I love when that happens. Now we saw that happen with Nextech. Anybody remember Nextech? So that was, you know, that stock moved big time based on the spin out of that, what is it? That ARway, which by the way, that ARway became a TenBagger. Now, the juice, in my opinion, has been squeezed out of those stocks. I mean, those things are basically dead money at this point. I mean, the valuations are too high for, based on the sales velocity, the momentum, the cadence of the revenues. And by the way, if you read my book, I talk exactly about this. You want to get into these things when there's cadence, there's momentum, velocity. You got to have velocity so the market's willing to pay a multiple for that. If you don't have the velocity, and especially in a bear market where valuation is getting compressed, you can't be paying crazy multiples. You can't be paying, you know, $80 million for a company that, you know, has, you know, 2 million in revenues, right? It doesn't make any sense. There's no path for it to be a TenBagger. That's why I'm not representing Nextech, because the opportunity is not there anymore. It's an, you know, 80 million, 60 million, whatever the number is, 60 million market cap. The revenues are still tiny. You know, they might do 5 million, but in order for it to be a TenBagger, what's the path for it to be a 500 million valuation? They would need in this market to be doing 50 million revenues. I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's just not realistic based on what they've delivered, the cadence, the momentum. It's just not there. If you like the story, it's great, you know, but it's not worth the money. That's just the reality. What I like about Novo Mentis is here you're paying, you know, $8 million for this business. That's the valuation. And all the peers are trading at valuations that are 10 times higher that are not much different. So you have this, what as in real estate they call this the wedge deal, where you're getting into a situation at a deep discount to the comps. Okay, you're getting this at 8 million, and the comps are 100 million. You understand it? All you got to do is basically, I call this a built-in profit in my book. This is when I say built-in profit, that's the situation I'm talking about. Okay, just so you understand. Again, if you don't read this book, don't blame me later on when you get into a stock and it goes down and you thought, oh, this guy was saying, no, you got to understand what I talk about by built-in profit. That's explained on page 92. I have a whole chapter on valuation analysis. By the way, you don't need to be a genius anymore. I can read this book. I also talk about charts, how to understand charts. Bottom line, my friends, is this, is that you got this asymmetric setup. You got multiple catalysts. You got the phase 2A clinical trial starting. You have the spin out dividends, which probably is going to be, it might take 4 to 6 months, whatever. So, and that hasn't been priced into the stock. It's a complete surprise to the market. The market, even better, the market doesn't even know about it, doesn't even care, nothing, because, there's not a lot of people watching the stock. That's why you got the opportunity. Look at this, the Canadian shares. It's amazing. It's amazing. Wow. Amazing opportunity. Anyway, look, I just wanted to do a quick update here to tell you about what's going on in the psychedelic space. So don't blame me if, you miss out on the ride, on the next, potentially the next psychedelic stock to move. Again, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying it's going to go to the moon. I'm not saying it's going to, these are high risk. They can go to zero. It's paid content, all that other stuff you should be knowing about, right? Again, I'm also an investor in the stock, right? So I'm in it for a big potential upside. That's why I get involved in a stock. Okay, I'm in it for a big potential upside. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But I think everything is lining up. All the signs are lining up, telling us that this is potentially that TenBagger. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Thank you. I just wanted to give you a quick update. See you on the next live stream. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, and get the book TenBagger Blueprint. It's on Amazon. I have a link to it below. Best $20 you'll ever invest. In fact, I guarantee you're going to make 100 times your money. This is the one guarantee I'm willing to make. If you read the book, you invest $20 in the book, $19.95, and you do not make at least 100 times your money from the ideas you get in the book, that means $2,000. It's a low bar. So if you don't make at least $2,000 based on the ideas you get from this book, I'll give you a full refund. That's right. If you tell me that you applied this to a couple of stocks and especially our stocks, and you didn't make $2,000, I'll give you a rebate. I mean, send me the book back. I'll give you 100% rebate. I'll even pay for your shipping. That's right. 100% money back guarantee. Just contact me. Again, you buy the book. If you don't make 100 times your money on what you invested in the book, I'll give you a rebate, because it means that either I did something wrong, obviously, or you're an idiot. I don't know, one of the two, maybe somewhere in between. Anyway, thank you for joining. See you in the next live stream.